Well, it's November, and you know what that means. It's time for more Gabby Hanna drama. Buckle up, bitches. Welcome back to my channel, and if you haven't been here before, well, there's a playlist that goes along with this. Today, Alex James posted a video called Gabby Hanna, Girl, Stop. You know, sometimes the well runneth dry, and then the well, I don't know, is less dry. This is that moment where maybe I should have made more notes first. Alex James made this video about Gabby Hanna, and the video that Gabby had made earlier this year, was it? How long has this year actually been? Where Gabby addressed Jessie Smiles, Trisha Paytas, Alex James, and of course Beyonce. And he sort of picks it apart a little bit and clarifies his points to her explanations for what happened between her and Alex. If you haven't seen the video I'm talking about, you've seen it. If you're here, if you clicked on this video, you know what I'm talking about. I'll link both videos below. If you don't, I can't imagine you watching her video, his video, and then coming back to my video. So hopefully you know what the hell I'm talking about and we can just get on with our lives, okay? So Alex addresses the situation with Gabby and him in their hotel room in Florida way back when. Gabby was posting a bunch of Snapchats convinced that the place was haunted and freaking out. She claimed that she was having a panic attack, that he was having a panic attack. They were freaking the fuck out. Then she basically went on to sort of accuse Alex in a way, in her convoluted Gabby Hanna way, of basically setting up everything to trick her. He took this opportunity to clarify that they were staying in different rooms. He didn't have a room key or access to her room unless she let him in, meaning that he couldn't have set up anything to prank her. He was basically essentially saying that at the time they were both very heavy content creators, meaning they put out a lot of content, and they were both sort of maybe not peaking in their career, but certainly on an upward trajectory where they were making good money, and they were always sort of working. So the way he describes it is that he was sort of just matching her energy. He was trying to help put on this facade that this whole thing was happening. He noted that she was very calm when she'd be like literally posting the Snapchat, and then she'd go back into crazy, scared, psycho mode as soon as she'd be filming it. The way he describes it is that they both knew that they were making content, and essentially saying that she was fabricating a story that he was pranking her.
Because they were both in on it.
Which, I mean, sounds like a pretty Gabby Hanna thing to do, judging just by her track record. I've made this sort of point in another video where Gabby's making a point in her video. You know, she's trying to make a very specific and concise point, and she's doing so by using receipts. Except her receipts don't match the thing that she's saying. And not like,
oops, I used the wrong picture.
Like, oops, I'm lying to you and showing you the real truth. In the first instance, it was about Trisha Paytas asking her to write her a song, but what was actually in the text that she was revealing was that she was asking Trisha if she could write her a song. In this instance, Gabby texted Alex, and the person who was texting her back was saying, "This isn't Alex, you have the wrong number." Yet she continued to text them and then proceeded to try and tell her audience that Alex was sleeping and not that she was texting the literal wrong person. I think that is fucking funny because I noticed it when I watched this video the first time, and I was like, that's kind of weird, but maybe there was a conversation after that, maybe he was fucking with her. I don't know, that was the only way I could really sort of like justify that being the screenshot that she shared. But now I learned that it was just, nope, she just literally wasn't texting him, but saying that she was, so that she could say that she did. Things from there start to get like a lot more dark. Alex addresses the prank that she played on him. I don't even like calling it that. Like, that's sort of sum up. Alex had a real experience with a stalker and a hacker. So she and I think they said it was Zane made a prank phone call to Alex pretending to be this hacker slash stalker. There's something in my eye. According to Alex, made him admit that he was a horrible person and that he hated himself, or they would expose everything that they had on him. He's clearly and rightfully so afraid, ready to call the police. And then he gets a phone call from Gabbie and she's
like, no, it was just us. We were just playing around. It was a prank and we're not gonna post the video.
It's simply not a prank. And it's not a prank. Pranks are funny. Pranks are lighthearted, funny jokes. Making someone admit that they hate themselves, making someone afraid for their lives, using a past traumatic experience for what? Okay, essentially it would have been for a video, so what? To exploit your friend or former friend's trauma for money? Okay, I'm seeing a repeating pattern. Exploiting people's traumas for money. You know, making your tragedies a work of art means making your tragedies a work of art. Leave other people's tragedies alone. It's so dark and it's abusive. If they were friends at that point, if they were actually still friends, that's abusive. That's disturbing. To even make someone you dislike afraid for their lives and then drag it out to the point where you make them say things like that about themselves, that they hate themselves, that's some sick fucking shit. This was my favorite part of the video, and like I kind of wish I sat with this a little longer to analyze it, but we're just gonna see where my brain and my mouth take this. Gabbie Hanna claimed that Alex James, and I think the sort of amalgamation of Alex James and Jessie Smiles and Jen Dent, sent her into therapy. All of the things that have befallen upon the good intentions of Gabbie Hanna has sent her into therapy. Alex James reveals that that's not what sent her to therapy, because she told him what sent her to therapy. Excuse you. What sent her into therapy...
You told me the reason why you were in therapy was because you hated Liza Koshy.
I mean, like, not unexpected, right? Like, I could see, you know, in the grand scheme of things, Gabbie being one of those women who's jealous of other people's successes so much that they want to tear them down, and it eats at them every waking moment because they can't stop obsessing about how much more successful someone else is, and it makes them jealous and it drives her insane and eventually sends them into therapy. I am not surprised that she felt that way about Liza Koshy, because of course she is. Liza never had to try as hard, and I don't mean she doesn't work as hard. I mean, she doesn't have to, her personality, she didn't have to try as hard as Gabbie. She didn't have to force herself at people. She was genuine, and I talk about her like she's gone. She is genuinely likable. She doesn't bring this cloud of misery and drama and mental psychological warfare. She's a light-hearted creator who lets her problems be her problems off camera. And that's not to say that you can't have your problems be problems on camera, because you can. A lot of vloggers do it. You know, it's perfectly normal these days to live your life and all of your emotions in front of a camera. But if you cannot handle doing that without it breaking you down, you should probably make a line of delineation between this is me on camera and this is me off camera, not sharing anything I don't want to share. I don't think anybody who makes commentary videos on Gabbie Hanna will be surprised that she essentially hated Liza Koshy because she was more successful. Let me know if that surprised you. Let me know. It didn't, I wasn't surprised, but it shook me for a moment, like, ooh, okay. Well, basically Alex says that she's, you know, having these mental breakdowns and spouting out lies, and then wanted to try to talk about it privately rather than publicly. And if a situation's public, finish it public. You don't even have to have the conversation publicly. You can say, Alex and I have addressed this, or Jesse and I have addressed this, or Trisha and I have addressed this, or literally anybody else on the internet and I have addressed this. Alex goes on to talk about his friend Jackie. Gabbie came into contact with her, they exchanged numbers, and invited Jackie over. I guess she decided that that was a good time to talk shit about Alex to her, and to also ask if Alex was talking shit about her. That sounds familiar. Where have we heard that before?
You constantly ask people if I talk about you. Half the time, I don't. And half the time I do, because there are mutual people that also have horror stories about you.
I'm seeing a lot of patterns. He says she spent a lot of time trying to coax him into sort of saying that she needed a nose job, that she needed to lose weight and all of this. And he asked it, and I'm gonna ask it too. What's your angle? To need that level of validation all the time is so sad. And maybe she's not like that anymore. The patterns would tell me otherwise, but to need that level of validation from the people around you, where you're literally begging them to insult you, to know where you stand on how you feel about yourself, is just absolutely pathetic, and that's what should have sent you to therapy. Now in 2018, Alex says that his manager, his entertainment lawyer, and his agent were stealing from him, essentially, in the sum of almost $170,000, which is nutrageous. He got summoned to court because of other things. He needed $4,000 immediately, or he was going to jail. And good on him for having the wherewithal to ask Gabbie for the money as a last resort. The way he describes the way that she answered him makes me want to vom, because I can hear it.
I know it took a lot for you to admit that, but I'm working on my album and I'm paying for it myself, so I don't really have the money. I know how hard it was for you to admit that.
Her income was cut to a third, y'all. You know who did help Alex? Jesse Smiles and Jen Dent. Character. It's not gonna come to you in a music video, no matter how creative you think that music video is. To sort of sum it all up, I just want to say that this video in no way altered my opinion about Gabbie Hanna. I still think she's kind of a bad, I don't want to say she's a bad person, but she has bad person tendencies. If I had to take an educated guess, okay, so this is just my guess, this is just my opinion, just my thoughts. I feel like Gabbie Hanna got so wrapped up in being a storytime YouTuber that she continued to create these outrageous situations, and she got so used to doing that it became an actual pattern in her life and the way that she treats people in her life. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe she was just always like this, but it feels like there's a point, there's like an end game to all of it. It's like the simplicity of like the story in Florida in the hotel room with the hauntings and all of that stuff. If the way that Alex says it happened is true, then the very obvious end game there is content and views and clicks and money. And I feel like in most of these situations that's the case. I feel like anything can be a good story. Anything could be something you could use for content. Drama you could dredge up around the time of releasing a single. It's November and you're bored. Thing is I know the Gabbie stans are gonna come for me, and if they're not gonna come for me, they're gonna come for somebody else who talks about it and say,
Well, she never starts drama. She didn't start this.
well, no, I guess technically she didn't. Just because Alex James didn't make a video about it the minute that her video came out, it doesn't mean that he's clout chasing. thing is that all of these Gabbie stans, these kids, and I'm talking specifically about the stans. I know that there are Gabbie fans who have an open mind and they can think for themselves and say, I know when Gabbie did XYZ, that was wrong, and that's great. Please always have that mentality to be able to call out your favorite creators, artists, whatever, because people are human and they need to be called out, because that's how we grow as people. Why am I whispering? It would be so easy for any of them to be like,
Well, why is Alex making this video now? Because his views are low?
maybe. So what if it is? He was mentioned in a video. Remember when you
tag my name, my real fucking name, and tell me I can't fucking respond.
If you're here to tell me about the timing of Alex's video or how wrong you think he is, whatever, go for it. That's all I have for this video. This was not the video that I was supposed to be putting out. I have a whole other video that I had to stop in the middle because I wanted to cover this because I thought it was interesting. The new video will be out probably by this weekend. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a like. If you didn't like this video, please feel free to give it a like. Why am I so winded by the time I get to my outro? Subscribe if you haven't already. I make videos whenever the hell I feel like it. Click the notification bell if you want to know when I upload. You know how to do all these call to action things. I don't think I need to tell you, but like it doesn't hurt. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll be down there later. I don't know.